What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Nerd World, our very first broadcast slash podcast slash I don't know what it is because it'll be in the editing room because, that's how we do in the podcast pilot. I am Corey.
I'm Christian.
And I am Josh.
And for the first podcast, we will be talking about the ever-popular Gotham. What do you guys think?
Is it ever popular?
According to viewers, yeah, it actually is.
I feel like the idea of it is ever popular.
Do you feel like it's going to go anywhere, though?
I don't know. I don't really think it has the talent behind it and the potential to go past the season unless they change the writing.
Here's the thing. I know Donald Logue from Grounded for Life, but all the other people, I have no idea who they are. I did very minor research on who the actors are. There's this woman played in this part. Way over here, a movie you've never seen before.
Pretty much.
The only decent Hollywood star they have in there is Will Smith's wife. So.
And she's awful as Fish Mooney.
Fish Mooney.
I didn't even know that was Will Smith's wife.
That's how she got the job.
But as a pilot, would you think it was solid enough, though, as a pilot, or do you think they could have given more? What are your thoughts on the pilot alone?
Well, when you take into account that most pilots for TV shows are crap, it was a decent pilot. I would say it definitely fell within the same league of other pilots where they may have potential. But, if every episode was like that, it would not be good. Not a solid show.
I thought the pace and acting was really weird. When they were at the bar scene and Harvey and Gordon are talking to the two other special ops people, it felt like it wasn't acting, it was just them reading the cards behind the camera.
I felt like tonally they couldn't choose between the gritty realness of The Dark Knight and the slightly cheesy tone of Batman the Animated Series and Tim Burton's Batman. I felt like they were trying to go for both.
And I think that's where it's going to be the failure. I think everybody's expecting Batman, but it's not Batman. It's Jim Gordon. That's the focus. It's Jim Gordon, the cops, and who killed Wayne's parents. That was the pilot.
Yeah, and it's boring as shit.
I don't know. I think if you were a comic... Okay, here's the thing. I didn't hate the pilot. I didn't. I think there was too many characters introduced to us on the pilot. I think that the way that they introduced the characters was really lame. Like the Poison Ivy scene. Okay, first of all, it doesn't add up in the scene. Why is Poison Ivy... You know what I mean? Does anybody else not feel in the Poison Ivy thing?
To me, that's the defining thing between a pilot and just a good first episode. A good show with good writers, they don't treat the pilot as a pilot. They treat it as the first chapter of a great book. Whereas with standard TV shows, a pilot is more here are all our ideas, all our stories, our concepts for the whole season. We hope you like it because there's going to be a whole season of it. And this felt like a pilot. They were shoving every cameo, every character, every storyline thread in the first episode at once.
Yeah,
whereas if you look at something like Breaking Bad, for instance, that first episode didn't seem like a pilot. It just seemed like the first episode of a show.
Yep, I agree with you.
It felt like they were just shoving all these characters in there so then we'd watch it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, all these nerds, look at all these characters we have.
Yeah.
Just put them all together.
Yeah.
While bastardizing their names.
Right, exactly.
Pepper. Ooh, I want to watch me some Ivy Pepper. Got to tune in Mondays.
I don't know if it happened on the pilot because I've seen both the episodes, but in the pilot, did Catwoman be introduced as Cat? Did you guys hear that yet or no?
Yeah. I watched both episodes.
Oh, okay. So it might not have been the pilot yet.
I just want Catwoman or Catgirl at this point to just be hit by a car. I don't know why. She hasn't said a word. She doesn't do anything besides jump around and look like...
I would love for when they're having a little intro scene of her doing her thing. She's just jumping around being a creepy orphan girl jumping around roofs.
Right.
I would love if someone actually sees her. I mean, what are you doing? Just take the sidewalk.
Well, that's the thing. In episode 2, I know, Chris, you haven't seen it yet, so I'm not going to get too deep into it. But, they basically said the word cat probably 10 times. Okay, we get it. Her nickname is Cat. We get it. You're going to become
Guys,
Catwoman.
do you get it? She walks on a roof and sleeps around. You guys don't get that she's Catwoman as a young girl. We'll say it to you. Did you get it yet? The cat.
Well, it's the same way with Batman too, where it's just like there's that one scene when they show him getting ready to like jump off the roof,
Right.
and he's like, "I'm conquering fear" in his not Batman voice yet,
Right.
and you're just like, "Get off the roof, okay? You're not conquering
They're
anything."
so heavy-handed about it. That's the thing. It's like a fan fiction or something. Like if some kid like, I want to write a prequel about Batman. You don't have to show a big scene. Ooh, he's conquering his fear. Does that he's becoming Batman? We know he's gonna become Batman. Just do a slow evolution of it.
Doesn't he not start to be like to develop into Batman until his teenage years?
That depends on the writer.
Yeah, traditionally though, yeah, he became like an emo kid because of it, and then once he became older and started, using his wealth to travel the world, he started that vendetta to become a crime fighter of the world.
While we're on the topic of Batman, can we talk about how much of an asshole Alfred is?
I was just about to say those exact words. I was like, so how about Alfred being an asshole? That guy's a dick.
Like, he's taking care of this orphan child, and every time the child is hurting himself, all Alfred does is like, "You little shit," and then he like tries to smack him.
He's the worst butler. He's
He
the
really
worst butler
is.
I've ever seen.
And I don't know if you guys have noticed, but his accent changes like every scene that he's in. Every scene, his accent changes. It's not
I'm
just
Scottish, mate. Wait,
Right.
I forgot. I'm a British butler.
Salem, shut up.
it's Catwoman. Hurry up, get him.
It's not Catwoman, it's just my annoying cat. Anyway, so there was a lot of talk on the internet about the man who was telling jokes to Fish Mooney
Oh yeah.
if he was going to be the Joker.
I swear, if he becomes the Joker, I don't know if I could still watch it.
I agree.
They're trying to slip in everything, everywhere. It's so bad, so
Well,
bad.
it's like a huge hint where they say,
No,
"Hey,
why are the hints so huge? I feel like the audience, who is predominantly either people who at least have more than a passing interest in the movies, or just full-on comic book geeks,
Right.
you don't have to have a guy giving a joke presentation.
Well, they did the same thing with Riddler. He only speaks in riddles. I wonder who this guy is. Really?
And the Penguin. I mean, they made his face look like a penguin."
But for the Penguin, do you guys enjoy the Penguin at all? Because I really do like the Penguin, and I think that's the only reason why I'd stick around. I enjoy his Nemesine ways. Like you can tell, like he started from like a nutcase. Into like episode 2, he's becoming way more nuttier. I'm a fan of it, but what do you guys think about him?
From a comic book standpoint, lukewarm reception.
Okay.
But then again, most comic books don't really go into his beginnings. That's the thing. If I ignore my love of the comic book Penguin and just view him as like a TV criminal, he's probably the most interesting part of the show right now.
They give him the most personality out of everybody.
True.
Like the Riddler gets a couple questions in, and Harvey's just like, "Okay, dude, shut the heck up.
Pretty much.
Just tell us what you mean."
Yeah.
And then the Joker gets a couple Well, I'm gonna assume
He's a Joker, right?
Because I don't know. Again, I have limited comic book knowledge, but with cartoons and everything, I pretty much know the Batman line. But doesn't Batman create the Joker?
Yeah, technically he does.
Yeah, I mean that changes depending classically he was a mob guy that Batman was chasing through a chemical plant, and he
and he falls into the chemicals. Yeah,
but they did that.
He's just a crazy guy who falls in love with Batman too, so it changes. Yeah, it's usually always because of Batman that the Joker picks Gotham to terrorize.
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
The Riddler basically any media, the Riddler is always a bit manic, like a fine line between like an evil genius kind of dude and like the Joker. Like he was a bit insane in the way he presented himself. And right now he doesn't seem like I'm sure they're gonna try to hint that he evolves into that and really shove it down our throats. But currently he just seems like a tech geek who has a weird OCD obsession with riddles.
Right, pretty much.
Yeah.
Pretty much. Was there any characters that they introduced that you did think that they should have just not even done at all? Like they shouldn't even used it in the pilot?
Well, Corey, are you talking about Fish Mooney, maybe?
No, actually, I wasn't. Well, we already talked about Fish Mooney, how crappy of a character she is. I'm talking about Poison Ivy. I don't think Poison Ivy really irritated me, and I don't know why. Like, I feel like they just put her in to show Poison Ivy. She had nothing for that episode. There was no reason for her.
I didn't know that Poison Ivy and Bruce Wayne were so close in age.
They're really playing around with the ages here.
Oh yeah, big time
Because
playing around.
Technically, when Batman comes back to Gotham, when he finally creates that whole superhero ego, isn't he like in his late 20s or mid 20s?
Oh yeah,
late 20s, early 30s.
So I don't know how old the Penguin is in this part, but wouldn't he be like upper 40s?
something like that.
Batman comes back, and same thing with the Riddler.
Yeah, they're messing up on the ages big time. Oh,
Now, with Penguin, he was always portrayed as a bit of a... Because he was never strong physically or any of that. He was just a crime boss. So that could fit. He could be in his 40s when Batman's doing his thing.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the Riddler was similar in like the Joker's age range, within 5 to 10 years of Batman's age.
Right.
So that might be tricky, depending on how you're doing that. Because right now, Bruce Wayne's like 11 or 12.
Something like that,
and
yeah.
Riddler looks like he's in his mid-20s, at least, working there.
Mm-hmm.
So...
Which I read something online, which I'm not a fan of, but they're actually, I think, making it where Catwoman and Bruce Wayne are befriending each other. Like, they're going to know each other and befriend each other. I don't know if I like that too much.
Now, that would be okay if she was a normal girl. She's just a normal girl going to school and they become friends, okay? But when you befriend... okay, let's say this. You're a 12-year-old kid, right? For some reason, you befriend a girl who everyone calls Cat, walks around at rooms, and drinks milk. and then like 15 years later, you become Batman, vigilante. You come to the city of Gotham, and you meet a vigilante/thief who walks like a cat, drinks milk, and sits around the roof. Like, I know you.
They say that Batman's one of the most overpowered superheroes just because that DC writers can give him anything he wants.
It basically comes down to, okay, we have a comic book universe filled with superpowered, godlike people. What are we going to do with this guy who has no superpowers? And the writer's answer was, give him everything else but a superpower. Unlimited money, unlimited intellect, unlimited kung fu powers, unlimited human muscle.
Right.
Unlimited intuition.
I just have a couple notes here that I was just like, oh, hey, my thoughts right now.
Okay.
The Gordon love romance scenes that I thought were a bit out of, like, hey, we're going to make this something that women can
relate
get into at this point.
I say they just go all the way with that. Think about it. They're not just showing only his cop stuff now. Now they're just going with his romance at home. Why not go all the way? Show Gordon getting off his shift and going to get Chinese takeout. Just make a whole 5-minute scene of that. Him waiting in line.
It'll show the divorce court.
Yeah. Just show him coming home, driving home in traffic. Let's just go all the way.
Drinking a bottle of whiskey when he gets home.
Screw it. Let's not call it Gotham. Let's just call it Gordon. Let's just change the whole title and go with Gordon. Because that's what they're aiming for anyway. That's what they're aiming for. They really are. They're aiming for what is Gordon going to do in this situation. Like, their whole promo is a good cop in a corrupt town. It's a cop show. Like,
and see, I really think that comes down to the root of the problem, though. This is basically a prequel of the whole universe. They're trying to show us the prequel for Catwoman, Poison Ivy, everything, and I really think it could have used focus. Like, a show that would just be a prequel about Penguin and how he rises to criminal power, or just a show about, it could be like Cops, the TV show Cops, except Gordon. That would be more entertaining.
Yeah.
Or a TV show about Arkham Asylum and how that's run or something. That would be more entertaining.
I'd love that one.
But in this case, it's a prequel about everything. About the city, I guess. It has no focus on any characters.
I mean, the annoying thing is, if it's such a heavy focus on Gordon, then if they do progress in the years as Batman grows up, when he becomes Batman, we're going to see is Gordon arriving late to a crime scene and going, oh, Batman's got it.
That's right.
And then he's going to go home and then drink and be like, what use am I now?
And you watch that.
You know what I thought of? There have been scenes where Bruce Wayne tells Gordon, I was conquering my fear, becoming stronger.
Right.
Don't you think at some point, like in the comics, there's going to be no air of mystery? Batman's just going to be there without fear, and he instills fear in all these criminals. Gordon's like going to be like, Bruce, is that you?
Bruce, get off the roof.
Well, see, and that's the issue, though, too, because in the comics and everything else, Gordon technically doesn't, well, he doesn't say that he knows Batman, right? Like, he doesn't. He's just like, oh, it's Batman again, but he doesn't know who's behind the Batman mask. Am I wrong on that in saying that?
Not initially. No, he does not know who's behind
No, he
Batman.
doesn't know.
Right. So how is
That's
this
what I'm
going to
saying.
work?
Unless Gordon has really bad memory because he's had a bit too much whiskey in his hard-boiled cop days, he's
Right.
going to know it's Bruce Wayne.
Exactly.
Or maybe he's just like an idiot. Like, you don't know he's an idiot at first, but then, like, season 3 of Gotham comes out, and he's just like, suddenly he doesn't remember Ivy Pepper or the Riddler that was at his office.
That's
or
probably
the
what's going to
Penguin.
happen. Ivy Pepper's going to give him some kind of poison that makes him forget everything, and that's
Oh.
how it works.
You know, that name makes me flinch every time.
I know it's
Pamela Isley. It's been like that ever since she came around.
Oh, I know.
It's like,
Can we
okay,
also talk
how can we
about-
hint that she's going to be Poison Ivy? Let's make that her first name. Ivy Pepper.
Can we also talk about how Ivy Pepper's dad, being huge, moved so fast through that apartment?
Yeah, he was kind of a beast. I'm not gonna lie.
He flipped the table, jumped over a couch, and got through a window and up like 2 flights of stairs before Gordon even like got over the table.
Wasn't there a bag of, was it white powder, I think it was? That
Yeah.
had the weapon in it?
Oh.
So he just dosed up right before they answered the door. That's what the delay was. He was like, hey guys, what you doing? Cops, I'm going.
And Poison's in the corner just looking at flowers. Did she even have a line? I think she said hello.
And if memory serves, didn't she have bright green eyes and green clothes?
She did,
Yeah.
yeah.
And red hair.
And red hair.
Too.
Yeah.
So I think her only line was, "You don't want to talk to my dad, he's mean." And then in the second episode, it was, "We hate you because you took away my abusive father." And it's
Yeah.
like, why do you hate the cops for this?
All I know is if they have a scene where like all the kids meet up or something, like if you have like a kid Joker or something, I don't know how we're going with that, or a kid Ivy Pepper and Catwoman, if they all meet up with Bruce Wayne as kids and they become friends, I'm just gonna flip the table and leave.
Oh yeah.
What is it, Gotham classroom?
Yeah, that's gonna be. I don't know. I'm curious to see what they're gonna do with this. I am a fan of it. I have problems with it. I will watch it. I've always given a series at least 4 episodes, and then going from there. Like for me, like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., when Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. came out, I hated it. I was so bored by it, and I was hoping that would be great. This, I'm not bored by. I'm annoyed by some of it, but I don't hate it. So.
See, and I think the problem lies with like Smallville, that show on CW, before it was over, was about the prequel for Superman.
Right.
Now that's been touched on in a number of issues. But Batman's prequel was never really touched on. I mean, yeah, it's talked about in some short runs and stuff, but that's really to the extent of the writer wants to lay his own groundwork and just set up his own comic in that story arc. But it's never been established firmly on what he did as a kid and why he did this, other than his parents were murdered and he went and trained and became a badass vigilante. So they're trying to lay new groundwork, basically. They're digging in and building their own foundation. So it's going to be messy. I feel like. But I also feel like with what they're doing, though, if they can last more than a season, the writers can get their ground and really get going.
I don't know. I mean, do you think that we really honestly need to know more about Batman than, like, oh, his parents were killed, that's why he wants to stop crime, and then he goes off to train for a number of years?
Honestly, no.
Do we need to know, like, oh, Batman's lactose intolerant, or Batman's allergic to bees?
Well, that sets the groundwork for why he has such a touchy relationship with Catwoman. He's lactose intolerant. And Catwoman loves milk, so they're like, we can never be together.
All right. So, do you want to just sum up what we, like I said, like we summed up pretty much what we said. Josh, what's your sum up? Will you watch it? Will you continue to watch it? What do you think?
I don't have TV, so I was I had to watch it on Hulu, which meant that there was a commercial every 3 minutes.
Right, of course.
So probably not, just
Okay.
because of that, and the fact that halfway through the first episode, I was like, is the whole first season going to be about finding who killed Batman's parents?
It's gonna be, I think.
And that's just going to annoy me and then drag
Which,
it on.
can I point out, in the comics, it was just an average guy, a thug,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Joe Chill, who got quickly apprehended, and that was that. And that,
Yeah, I
that
know.
was the whole mythos. It was just a regular criminal, and they got their revenge. He was caught, but that just made an obsession with Bruce Wayne. Then he became, because Batman's basically a crazy guy.
You mark my words. The guy that ends up killing the Waynes is gonna be somebody huge. There's gonna be a villain.
They're
You know
gonna
it is.
they're gonna butcher the comic storyline and make it like some weird conspiracy theory to kill the good Waynes of the city.
Right.
Which is
Well, I mean,
really
even in the
like
comic books, when you watch the old Batman cartoon, Batman goes back in time to stop his own parents' murder and ends up finding out who the killer is.
Who was it in the
And-
cartoon?
Who was?
It was just some random thug who said that he went to all the supervillains and said that he killed Batman's parents.
I think
and
we can all agree we need the writers of the animated series to make a show.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
These guys.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I guess there's more leeway though with an animated series than there is with using real people.
I guess. I mean, if there's good writing, you can have a good show. And I think honestly that will be the downfall. If you don't have good writing, this show will fail.
My whole attitude on it is meh. That's just my tone. If it keeps going and it gets better, good for the show, and I'll probably watch it. But at this point, I'm not going to watch it religiously, and if it fails, I can't say I didn't expect it.
Okay.
You know?
I can't say I'll care if it fails.
Yeah. See, I think you hate it a lot more than us. I don't know. I liked it. I will watch it probably every episode until it annoys me to the point of like, oh my gosh. And I think where it's going to
two
annoy.
more episodes.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it 2 more episodes probably. I mean, I was a fan of Victor coming, but I don't know what they're gonna do with that either. So I don't know. So are we good on talking about Gotham?
I think we are.
Okay.
Mhm.
All right. So what's the next topic we're going to be going on to?
Next topic is going to be video games or video game systems. And I added the video game systems because I want to talk about the absurdity of Xbox One and then Xbox 360, mostly because I can't afford either.
Are we going like system-wise? Like who's the best? Is that what you're talking about?
No, I just wanted to say how much I hate Xbox One because I
Oh.
can't play the new Lord of the Rings game.
Well, we all do. So.
Yeah.
It is coming out on old gen.
Oh, is it really?
Is it?
November. It's being done by a third-party studio and coming out more than a month later, but it is coming out.
Interesting.
I did not know that.
Yep, just gotta wait.
I still hate you, Microsoft.
I stab you, Microsoft. I still hate you.
Is there any games that are coming out that you're actually like looking forward to?
I actually do want to play Destiny for a little bit, but I heard it's frustrating that because all of the quests are like cookie cutter quests where they all are the same thing, and then you have to stay online for the whole thing, and I hate playing with other people.
I will say the game is built as like a foundation for like a shooter MMO hybrid thing.
Mm-hmm.
But the problem is, it was in development for like 5 years, $500 million budget. It should not take that much money, that much time to build the foundation they have here.
Yeah.
I feel like they could have done it in a year and a half tops. Because you're right, the missions are cookie cutter. They're just raids, and they throw a lot of enemies at you. And then multiplayer. And they have a huge team over at Bungie.
Yeah.
So there's just not enough content for what they were doing.
I mean, I don't know. I've heard great things about Destiny. I've never played it. I've also never been a fan of Halo, and I feel like it's a Halo look to it. That's what I feel like. Am I wrong in saying that?
No.
It has Halo mechanics, yeah, definitely. And my problem is there's not much story to it. They don't explain anything, and they say, okay, it's like an MMO. We're gonna explain it in expansion packs and stuff like that. The problem is, if this is just a foundation, it's almost criminal to charge $60 for it.
Right.
Because $60
Yeah,
is the price of
definitely.
the full game.
Now, what are you gonna do? Do you have Destiny, Christian?
I do.
What are you going to do if, in order to further the story, they make you do, like, you have to buy this expansion for $20?
Will you do it?
Depends on the expansion. If it's purely a story expansion, it comes with like 15 missions and a lot more cutscenes that actually explain what I'm doing. Yes, but if it's one of those, here, have 5 more story missions, uncover a little bit more of the story, plus 10 all-new multiplayer maps and 5 more exclusive weapons.
So it has to offer
No.
a lot, is what you're saying, is basically.
Well, if I'm going to buy it for the story, it has to offer mostly story,
Yeah.
because a lot of those with those packs are more multiplayer maps. And as a person who finds the multiplayer, you know, because I was expecting a good shooter-driven, story-driven MMO type thing.
And it wasn't that.
It's really just a shell for DLC packs and multiplayer.
Mm.
So, and by multiplayer I mean PvP, you know, Call of Duty-esque shooting in a red. So, do you like shooters? Do you like loot? And do you love grinding? If you like all 3 of those things, this will be your game of the year.
My biggest issue is if it's not story driven, I will probably not buy it. I buy video games for stories. If you can tell me a good story and have fun all at the same time with side missions and all that, I'll play. Perfect example for me, like I'm hugely, and I didn't think I would be, I'm hugely into Watchdogs right now. I love Watchdogs. I didn't think I would, honestly.
That is surprising.
It is, I know. The story is meh. It is, but I still enjoy it, if that makes sense. Like, it's not the most fantastic story in the whole wide world, but they have so many side missions, to me, that's ridiculous. I have fun in all the side missions. So, that's just me.
Okay, let's throw this out here.
Okay.
What's your opinion on the new Assassin's Creed Unity, made by the same guys?
Honestly, have not seen enough about it to know.
To be perfectly honest, I wasn't that interested when the first Assassin's Creed came out. I've never really liked the Assassin's Creed series.
I've played the Assassin's Creed. Now, I have. I've played up to, I think the 3rd one that came out. I think after the 3rd one they should have quit. But Black Flag, I've never played it, but I've seen stuff on it, and I think it's cool. I have not seen, though, like I said, that's the newest one.
Yeah, I mean, Assassin's Creed to me is like my Call of Duty. I will buy it every year.
Really?
As long as they keep making them. And the newest one is in open world France with, and here's the thing for me, 2 things. They've added downward parkour, so instead of now climbing up a building and jumping in some hay, now they actually do leaps and swings off ropes and stuff to get down. It's really fluid. And co-op, open world co-op. Multiple assassins in the whole city doing their thing.
That's interesting. That's actually pretty cool. And I think my issue, and I might be just speaking for Josh, but I don't know. My issue is there was so much, just like you said, going over buildings. It's the same old parkour thing over and over with a different story. Do you see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. That was my issue with Assassin's Creed. Now, if you tell me that this is, like you said, you can like do ropes and do stuff like that, I might be interested in Assassin's Creed.
And they have, I don't know if you remember, but in Assassin's Creed 3, they introduced, they called them like tunnels or getaways, where you would just enter a doorway of a building, and all it would be was a pre-canned animation of him like climbing up the stairs, all assassin-like, and jumping out of the window, the next window on the other side of the building, to like cut through an alley. Basically, you could never go into the building, and if there was a building, it would be like a bar with a loading screen.
Ooh.
Well, now they've added open buildings. Like there was a demo where he just jumps into a window of a bar.
Yeah.
And there it is. No, you're in the building, and now basically the scene transitioned from parkour to now he was doing, you know, his social stealth, blending in to listen to a conversation seamlessly. Open for others.
That's interesting.
I just hate that it took them 4 games before they got to that.
Do that, yeah. Yeah.
It's like, something I might recommend for you, Corey. You thought that Assassin's Creed Black Flag looked good. Well, I believe, because now they're doing the next-gen Assassin's Creed and the previous gen.
Okay.
Assassin's Creed, forgot the name of it already. I don't know. But it's the previous gen version coming out the same month. That's going to be on PS3 and 360 only. That tells the story of a guy who, by the way, this is also very sailboat-centric. He sails across the shores, like, into the Antarctic and the ice.
Okay.
This tells the story of a Templar hunting down assassins. And what's cool is you're doing your usual thing. You have the parkour abilities of an assassin. You have your own skills. But now you don't have to be stealthy. There is no tailing, because remember, in the mythos of the games, it's always the Templars being tailed.
Right.
So in this game, none of those stupid tailing missions, none of that.
Oh, that's good.
And the big cool feature is that you will be attacked by AI assassins who will hide and climb buildings and
Nice.
jump off roofs to try to kill you and your guards.
Wow, that's intense.
So they're AI-controlled assassins. Are they going to be actually intelligent, or is it at some point you're going to know, oh, they're really close to a building, so they're going to climb up to a building?
You know how that goes. Every game company says, we have the most intelligent AI ever before.
Right.
Well, they said that for Halo 4, and then you still get these really weird glitches with people where there was one time I was driving a Warthog with somebody in it, and she just immediately drove off of the edge.
That's the feature.
Yeah, right.
She's been fighting this war for like 5 years against aliens. She's depressed, man.
So she killed me? I'm the Master Chief.
Yeah, but she's driving. She just wants to end it. She's driving off a cliff, whether you want to or not.
I'm guessing that you said you were surprised that I liked the game. Did you not like the game Watchdogs?
I just thought it was a bit lackluster in the story, which I like the story. But you said it yourself. You appreciated all the side missions. I thought there were almost too many side games and side quests.
Mm-hmm.
Because I feel like it takes away from the story.
Oh yeah. I take my time where I'm like, I'm going through the story, I'm doing the story, and all of a sudden I'm like, oh, what's that new thing that popped up on the map? And I go over there. I'm distracted by side missions all the time. It makes the story so much longer. But like I said, I appreciate it. I love it. I honestly am not bored by, like, my favorite part is like you can intrude in people's like houses or whatever, and like just to see the different things they come up with is hilarious. I think that's cool. Like, they're just...
My sticking point though is, do they add to the story? Do they fill out the story? Because that's what I think side activities should be.
Mm-hmm.
Or are they? Because like a lot of them, like chess, or you can get coffee from stores, stuff like that.
Right.
Are they just doing it to say most side things ever, biggest open world game ever, and throwing things out there?
I believe so. It's definitely not for the story. It's just for side missions if you don't want to follow the story anymore. That it really is. This doesn't add to the story. It just shows, hey, look what he can hack and look what he can buy and look all that stuff. But I mean, I appreciate. I think it's just. I mean, it's basically the same thing as Grand Theft Auto. And instead of like hitting people, you can like take their money off their phone. Like, I find that interesting. I think that's cool. And then when you get as much money as you want, you go to an ATM and take it out. I don't know. There's something about that I think is just neat. I don't know why I find that incredible, but I do. So.
There's something about that I wish was real life.
Well, yeah, obviously.
I wish I could look at people and take all their money.
Right.
Yeah. Well, then, like, you're walking around the city and suddenly you come up to a guy and it's just like, he's HIV positive, and you're just like, oh.
And he's a blood donor.
Right. All at the same time. I know, because Josh was over at my house playing it, and he found, like, just getting to, like, look at what people are doing and, like, what their jobs and stuff are really interesting, which, I don't know, maybe that's...
What is really interesting to me is, I did not know they make so many styles of coat. Little latch.
That was one thing I'm just like, okay, so do I take the yellow jacket or the red jacket? There's not really much more to their clothing.
I feel like that would be suspicious, too. Because, like, they're posting pictures of the vigilante having, like, shootouts in the streets, wearing this coat with this hat, this mask, and these things. And then you see a guy, like a 30-year-old white guy, fitting the description of the vigilante, like, build, and he's walking into a store and buying, like, 10 coats, leather coats.
Right.
Different coats with, like, the latch. And a bunch of hats and masks.
And my favorite part is they're actually different prices. Like, one's more expensive because, like, this has some kind of different color than that one does. I don't know how.
Like, you can just picture the vigilante going into the store. He's like, "Ooh, I just robbed a criminal's bank account. I think I'll treat myself. I think I'll get the red one."
I think I said that to you though when I was playing it. I'm like, "What? You can only dress up in a coat?"
Yeah, that is what it is too. You know?
It doesn't make any sense.
I feel like they could have brought in that, but whatever.
Like, if you're trying to hide from people, wouldn't you, like, just dress up not in a long coat and have a mask on and a hat?
What they needed to do to be truly realistic is they needed for Aiden to stop his car in the middle of the street, try to jump out of the car, and get in a gunfight, and have his long coat get stuck in the door. That's truly realistic.
He's like,
damn. And then, like, do the choke chain where he gets stuck and then he just flies back. Yeah.
Darn, I shouldn't have got a coat with a latch right by the throat.
It actually rips his throat out, and you're just like, oh, and it just gets real graphic for no reason at all.
You paid $60 for a game just to see one cutscene.
I would love that because they always talk about realistic cloth physics. You put a character with a long coat or cape, and you constantly have inconveniences of getting it snagged on hooks and getting it stuck in doorways and stepping on it.
That would be hilarious. I'd buy that game just for that. Just to laugh at that.
Cape physics, next gen.
This has been our very first podcast. Hopefully, we will improve with the technical difficulties and all that good stuff. Maybe we'll be able to see Christian's face next time. Maybe we won't. I don't know.
Possibly.
And hopefully, we'll get better as we go. If you guys have an idea of maybe topics that you would actually like to hear us discuss that's nerd-related, let us know in the comments, and maybe we'll talk about it. But for next time, this has been Corey.
This is Josh.
Oh, no.
Oh my gosh,
guys!
You had one job!
Oh, I'm supposed to be last. I forgot.
All right, let's start over. Let's pretend like this didn't even happen. Well, anyway, this has been the first podcast. Hope you enjoy. Hope you come back. This is Corey.
This is Christian.
And this is Josh.